Now, I'd like to suggest that there are several ways of looking at meaningful work. Meaningful work is not something with a singular essence. It's not that there is one and only one characteristic of meaningful work, but rather there are a number of aspects of work that might make work meaningful. Now, on the whole, though, one thing to notice about this list is that it often appeals to the sort of aspects of work that are inherent to the work itself, or to the relationship between the work and the worker, as opposed to the benefits that come extrinsically from work. No doubt there are many important reasons for working where the benefit of the work lies beyond the work itself. For many people, this is a paycheck, or a way of self-sufficiency, or perhaps supporting a family. You might also achieve social recognition and esteem through your work. For instance, doctors are esteemed by the community for the work they do. But often, I think one has to look beyond the extrinsic benefits of work to find the true sort of deeper characteristics of the work itself that will make the work meaningful, because those characteristics impact the worker. And number one on the list comes from the framework of perfectionist ethical theories, which, as you know now, emphasize the development of human nature or human capacities. The idea here is that work might be meaningful if it takes you beyond yourself and allows you to develop the capabilities that you have intellectually, morally, or socially. When work is challenging, it often allows you to thrive or to flourish. Whereas if your work is not challenging, you might feel that personally, in terms of your own intellectual and moral development, you're going nowhere. So the development of your capacities or capabilities is an important component of meaningful work. Now, secondly, work will often allow you to exercise autonomy. In fact, it's fair to say that if you have little choice making in terms of your occupation, either of the occupation as a whole or within the occupation, it is hard to regard the work as meaningful. And this is built upon the basic intuition that meaningful work will often express one's fundamental values and purposes. So you as a human being have a conception of your place in the world, and through a kind of process of autonomous decision-making will decide what kind of work to do and in what way. So meaningful work might often allow you to develop your autonomy. And beyond that, escaping from boring work is often associated with the achievement of freedom. So there are many ways in which autonomy or freedom can go hand in hand with work that is meaningful. Now, thirdly, meaningful work might be defined as work that promotes dignity or pride or honor. And in this third definition, we really have a kind of broad account of occupations that can be meaningful. People can find legitimately pride and honor in a wide variety of occupations. So for instance, if you work at a soap factory, and soap is important for a human community because otherwise people would be dirty, then there's a purpose in making soap, and one can find a certain amount of pride and honor and perhaps self-respect in that activity. So that's another suggestion. Now, fourthly, meaningful work might allow a person to express their personal values or purposes in contributing to a human community. In thinking broadly about what makes life meaningful, you might identify the meaning of your life with your involvement in the human community. No doubt there are many aspects of a meaningful life, but one would be a kind of purposiveness within the larger whole. So to be of useful service in your community will allow you to have a sense of meaningfulness or purposiveness. And meaningful work then will be work that contributes importantly to a community, particularly when you can use your own honed and personal skills and values in contributing to a community. The work will be meaningful for you. And finally, there's a certain existentialist insight in this possibility, listed lastly here, that meaningful work will often produce something of enduring value. That is to say, when you look at masonry or architecture, you find something that is not only valuable because it is self-expressive and a contribution to the needs and wants of other people in the human community, but also it endures for a magnificent amount of time. And that makes it it meaningful? And the idea here is that work that takes us beyond the present and thrusts us into the future is an activity of transcendence, whereby one provides a kind of justification for living. Okay. Now, there's certainly more to say about that, and perhaps in the Q&A period of the talk we can talk more about the many aspects of meaningful work. Let me also talk a bit about the dark side of the connection between meaningful work and human flourishing. And the dark side stems from the fact that although meaningful work is necessary for living well, it is not available for all people outside of a utopia. Now, once in a while, social philosophers will suggest that perhaps there will come a time when all human beings can participate in work that is fulfilling or satisfying or an important contribution to a community, because perhaps time-saving devices will eliminate the labor that is necessary for the human community but fundamentally unfulfilling. Perhaps robots will do it all for us. This is an old dream, that no one will have to do work that is unfulfilling so that everyone can do work that is fulfilling. But ultimately, the fact that human communities do need some individuals to perform work that is necessary for the community and that is also not satisfying in and of itself, this basic need of the human community to have some people to do the work that they would rather someone else do, that basic need of the human community means that meaningful work will not be available for all people. Now, on the one hand, there's an intuition that it would be valuable to either eliminate the need for some people to do meaningless work, or to share the work that needs to be done but that no one really wants to do. I'd like to give a quote from a good book on this topic called Just Work by a political thinker named Russell Muirhead. So Muirhead writes, "There is a tendency to wish away the bad work that we make necessary, and to turn away from those who do such jobs. To engage the people who do these jobs as human beings is to risk recognizing the violence that the work, that is, the work necessary for our own convenience, does to the development of others. Sharing work, even in a symbolic way, helps guard against our tendency to render those who do the worst work socially invisible." So in a kind of egalitarian sentiment, someone might propose either sharing work or rotating among jobs, or on the other hand, eliminating, insofar as one can, work that is not fulfilling or meaningful. But it's relatively clear that someone might have a resistance to this kind of egalitarian suggestion that we would rotate or share among the meaningless work so that everyone can do work that is fulfilling and satisfying. For one thing, those divisions of labor that relegate some people to unsatisfying work are terribly efficient and allow for productivity and competency in performing those jobs. You know, you think for a moment about the Marxist suggestion that in the communist society, when the state regulates divisions of labor, a person can be a hunter in the morning, Marx thought, a hunter in the morning, a cattle rearer in the afternoon, and a literary critic in the evening, something of this sort. You know, it's really ridiculed among intellectuals as a kind of, communist pipe dream. So that's not a solution to the problem. Ultimately, on my account, there simply is a dark side to the fact that meaningful work is necessary for human flourishing. The implication is that human flourishing is not available for all people outside of a utopia where meaningful work can be had by all.